Humanity has always imagined the world's end in strikingly different ways. Fiery battles between divine beings, cosmic cycles of destruction and rebirth, and prophecies of ultimate doom have captured our collective imagination. In Norse mythology, Ragnarok foretells a cataclysmic battle where gods and giants clash, leading to the world's fiery end and its subsequent rebirth. Christianity's Book of Revelation presents vivid visions of apocalypse with the four horsemen, the rise of the Antichrist, and the final judgment of all souls. Hindu beliefs speak of the Kali Yuga, an age of darkness and decline, culminating in Pralaya, the great dissolution and rebirth of the universe. The Mayan Popol Vuh describes a cycle of creation and destruction, prophesying the end of the current world and the dawn of a new era. Indigenous Australian myths of the Dreamtime tell of a transformative end, where the world will be reshaped and renewed. These myths are more than stories. They reflect our deepest fears, our hopes, and our understanding of the universe. Join us on a journey through these apocalyptic visions to discover the profound messages they carry. Ragnarok, the end of days in Norse mythology, begins with a chilling omen: the death of Balder, the most beloved of the gods. Balder, radiant and pure, is slain by a mistletoe arrow, the only thing that can harm him, thrown by his blind brother Hod, tricked by the malevolent Loki. The gods' sorrow is immense. Their golden hall of Asgard is filled with grief and foreboding. Balder's death sets the stage for the Fimbulwinter, a relentless, bitter winter that lasts 3 full years without reprieve. Snow falls from all directions, and the world is plunged into darkness and despair. Crops fail, food becomes scarce, and society descends into chaos. Brothers fight and kill one another, and parents betray their children. It is a time of moral decay and unending suffering. Amidst this turmoil, the gods of Asgard prepare for the inevitable. Odin, the All-Father, seeks wisdom from the ancient runes and consults the severed head of the wise Mimir, yet his heart is heavy with the knowledge of his doom. The ravens Hugin and Munin, his constant companions, bring him news of the approaching end. The final battle is fought on the plain of Vigrid, a field stretching 100 miles in every direction. Odin, clad in gleaming armor and wielding his spear Gungnir, leads the gods into battle. His face is stern, yet resolute as he faces his fate. Thor, the thunder god, stands beside him, his hammer Mjolnir crackling with lightning, ready to face his ancient enemy, Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent. The sky darkens, and the earth shakes as the giants and monsters led by Loki and his fearsome children march towards Vigrid. Fenrir, the colossal wolf, breaks free from his chains, his jaws gaping wide enough to swallow the sun. The fire giant Surtur, with his flaming sword, leads the forces of Muspelheim, intent on setting the world ablaze. The battle is fierce and cataclysmic. Odin engages Fenrir, knowing it will be his final fight. The clash is brutal, and despite Odin's might, he is devoured by the ravenous wolf. Thor, in a titanic struggle, fights Jormungandr. He strikes the serpent with Mjolnir, killing it but not before being mortally poisoned by its venom. Loki and Heimdall, the watchmen of the gods, slay each other in a duel of unparalleled ferocity. As the gods fall, Surtur fulfills his destiny. He swings his flaming sword, and the fire consumes the world. Mountains crumble, stars vanish, and the earth sinks into the sea. The roar of the flames drowns out all sound, and the world as it was is no more. Yet this is not the end. From the ashes and the waters, a new earth emerges, green and fertile. The cycle of destruction and rebirth is complete. Balder returns from the realm of the dead, bringing light and hope to the survivors. 2 human beings, Leif and Lifthrasir, who hid in the world tree Yggdrasil during the chaos, emerge to find a rejuvenated world. They will repopulate the earth, ensuring the continuity of life. Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods, is a tale of epic battles and cosmic destruction, but also of renewal and hope. It reflects the Norse belief in the cyclical nature of existence, where every end heralds a new beginning. It is a story of resilience where even in the face of inevitable doom, there lies the promise of rebirth and a better future. The myth of Ragnarok is deeply intertwined with the values and beliefs of Norse culture, reflecting a worldview shaped by the harsh realities of the Scandinavian environment. In the icy north, where winters were long and unforgiving, the Norse people developed a stoic acceptance of fate and a profound respect for heroism. Heroism in Norse culture was not merely about physical strength or battlefield prowess. It encompassed a broader ideal of courage, honor, and an unwavering commitment to face one's destiny, no matter how grim. The gods, especially figures like Odin and Thor, epitomize these values. Odin's relentless quest for wisdom and his foreknowledge of his own death at Ragnarok highlight a central theme: the nobility of fighting a doomed battle with honor. This acceptance of fate, or weird, permeated the Norse psyche. Life was seen as a series of challenges set by the gods to be met with bravery and resolve. The idea of a predestined end, where even the gods could not escape their fates, resonated deeply with a people accustomed to the unpredictability of their environment. The cyclical nature of time, with the world ending and then being reborn, mirrored the natural cycles of the seasons, planting and harvest. The Scandinavian environment itself, with its stark beauty and brutal climate, influenced these beliefs. The long, dark winters and brief, intense summers were a constant reminder of nature's power and the cyclical nature of life and death. The Norse saw their world as one of balance: light and dark, warmth and cold, life and death. Ragnarok encapsulated this balance, with the destruction of the old world making way for a new beginning. The warrior ethos of the Norse also played a crucial role in the shaping of Ragnarok. The Viking culture revered warriors who displayed valor and strength, seeing them as embodiments of their gods. The heroic death in battle was the ideal end for a warrior, promising entry to Valhalla, Odin's Hall of the Slain. This valorization of the heroic death is evident in the depiction of the gods' final battle. Despite knowing their fate, they fight with unyielding spirit, reflecting the Norse belief that true honor lies in the struggle, not the outcome. Furthermore, the communal nature of Norse society is reflected in the myth. The gods' fight against the giants and monsters is not just a personal struggle, but a collective effort to protect the world. This echoes the Norse community's reliance on mutual support and solidarity in the face of external threats and harsh conditions. In essence, Ragnarok is more than an apocalyptic vision. It is a reflection of the Norse way of life. It encapsulates their resilience, their acceptance of fate, and their belief in the cyclical nature of existence. It tells us of a people who, despite the odds, faced their end with courage, knowing that destruction is but a prelude to renewal and that every end is the beginning of something new. The Book of Revelation, the final book of the Christian New Testament, unfolds through the vivid apocalyptic visions of John, exiled on the island of Patmos. In a series of dreams and revelations, John witnesses the end of the world, a cosmic battle between good and evil that determines the fate of all creation. The vision begins with the appearance of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, each symbolizing a different facet of the impending doom. The first horseman rides a white horse, representing conquest and the spread of a false peace. The second, on a fiery red horse, brings war and bloodshed. The third, riding a black horse, carries scales, heralding famine and economic collapse. The fourth horseman, pale and ghastly, embodies death, followed by Hades, bringing pestilence and widespread mortality. Amidst these horrors, the Antichrist rises to power, a charismatic but deceitful leader who deceives many and demands worship. His rule marks a time of great tribulation, where believers face persecution and martyrdom. The world is plunged into chaos, with natural disasters, plagues, and demonic forces wreaking havoc. The climax of John's vision is the Battle of Armageddon, a colossal confrontation between the forces of good and evil. On one side, the armies of heaven led by Christ himself, mounted on a white horse and wielding a sword of divine justice. On the other, the legions of the Antichrist and the dragon, symbolizing Satan. The battlefield is vast and the conflict is fierce, but the outcome is certain, the ultimate defeat of the Antichrist and his followers. In the aftermath of this apocalyptic war, Satan is bound and cast into the abyss for 1,000 years, marking the beginning of a millennial reign of peace and righteousness. This period is one of restoration and renewal, where the faithful are rewarded and the earth is healed. Finally, John envisions the Last Judgment, where all souls, living and dead, stand before the great white throne of God. Books are opened, and each person's deeds are weighed. The righteous are granted eternal life, while the wicked are cast into the lake of fire, symbolizing the second death. The culmination of Revelation is the creation of a new heaven and a new earth. The old world, with its pain and suffering, passes away, and a new glorious reality emerges. The holy city, New Jerusalem, descends from heaven, radiant and perfect. In this renewed creation, God dwells among humanity, wiping away every tear and abolishing death, mourning and pain forever. The book of Revelation, with its vivid imagery and profound symbolism, offers a vision of ultimate justice and hope. It is a testament to the belief in a divine plan that transcends earthly suffering, promising a future where good triumphs over evil and peace reigns eternal. The book of Revelation was written in a time of great turmoil and persecution for early Christians. The Roman Empire, vast and powerful, saw the rise of Christianity as a threat to its established order. Christians faced severe oppression, often forced to worship in secret and subjected to brutal punishments for their faith. This context of persecution heavily influenced the apocalyptic visions recorded by John. The imagery in Revelation is rich with symbolism, designed to convey deeper messages to its audience. The four horsemen, for example, represent not just physical calamities, but also the spiritual and moral challenges facing the early Christian community. Conquest, war, famine, and death were realities of the time, and their inclusion in the visions underscored the believers' struggles and the need for steadfast faith. John's vision of the Antichrist resonated with early Christians, who often saw parallels between this figure and the Roman emperors who demanded divine honors. The Antichrist's rise to power and the ensuing tribulation symbolized the oppressive reign of these emperors, emphasizing the need for vigilance and resistance against false idols. The Battle of Armageddon, with its epic confrontation between good and evil, mirrored the existential struggle faced by the early Christians. They viewed their faith as a battle against the forces of darkness, and the promise of a final decisive victory offered hope amidst their suffering. This vision provided a powerful reassurance that, despite the present hardships, divine justice would ultimately prevail. The millennial reign and the Last Judgment reflected the early Christians' longing for justice and restoration. In a world where they were marginalized and oppressed, the promise of a future where righteousness and peace would prevail was profoundly comforting. The vision of the Last Judgment, where all deeds are weighed, underscored the belief in a just and moral universe where every action has significance. The creation of a new heaven and a new earth served as the ultimate symbol of hope and renewal. For early Christians, it was a promise that their faith and perseverance would lead to a new, perfect existence, free from the pain and suffering of the current world. The descent of New Jerusalem represented the fulfillment of divine promises and the establishment of a direct, unmediated relationship between God and humanity. Revelation's vivid and dramatic imagery also served as a coded language, enabling early Christians to communicate their beliefs and hopes without attracting further persecution. The symbolic nature of the visions allowed them to critique the Roman Empire and express their aspirations for divine justice in a manner that was both powerful and discreet. In essence, the Book of Revelation was a source of strength and encouragement for early Christians. It provided a framework for understanding their suffering and reinforced their hope for a divine resolution. Through its rich symbolism and dramatic visions, it conveyed the message that faith and perseverance would ultimately lead to victory and renewal, offering a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. In Hindu mythology, the universe moves through an endless cycle of creation, preservation, and destruction. Central to this belief is the concept of the yugas, 4 ages that encompass the moral and physical state of the world. The Kali Yuga, the final age in this cycle, is a time of darkness and decline, marked by the gradual deterioration of virtue and dharma. The Kali Yuga begins with the loss of truth and righteousness. Moral values erode, and humanity succumbs to greed, dishonesty, and violence. The once glorious societies of the previous yugas decay, as corruption and injustice become rampant. Sacred knowledge is forgotten, and the connection between the divine and the earthly weakens. This age of darkness is said to last for 432,000 years, during which the forces of evil gain strength and dominate the world. As the Kali Yuga progresses, natural disasters become more frequent and severe. Earthquakes, floods, and droughts ravage the land, reflecting the moral decay of humanity. Societal structures collapse and chaos ensues. The great cosmic order, once maintained by the gods, starts to unravel. The culmination of the Kali Yuga leads to Pralaya, the great dissolution. The universe teeters on the brink of destruction as cosmic battles rage between the forces of good and evil. The gods themselves engage in fierce conflicts, striving to restore balance. The fire god Agni consumes the world in flames while the waters of the cosmic ocean rise to engulf the earth. The sun and moon lose their light, and the stars fall from the sky. It is a time of utter devastation where the very fabric of reality disintegrates. Yet within this destruction lies the promise of renewal. Pralaya is not just an end, but a necessary purification, clearing the way for a new cycle of creation. As the universe dissolves into chaos, the seeds of rebirth are sown. The supreme deity Vishnu, in his form as the preserver, takes on the role of the ultimate restorer. He descends as Kalki, the final avatar, riding a white horse and wielding a flaming sword. Kalki vanquishes the forces of darkness, heralding the dawn of a new era. After the cataclysmic events of Pralaya, the universe is reborn. The cycle begins anew with the Satya Yuga, the age of truth and virtue. The earth is rejuvenated and the divine order is restored. Humanity returns to a state of purity and righteousness, living in harmony with the gods. The cosmos, once fractured, becomes whole again. The myth of the Kali Yuga and Pralaya is a profound reflection of Hindu beliefs about time, morality, and the eternal nature of the universe. It teaches that even in the darkest times there is hope for renewal, and that the end is merely a prelude to a new beginning. This cycle of destruction and rebirth emphasizes the resilience of life and the enduring quest for spiritual enlightenment. The myth of the Kali Yuga and Pralaya is deeply rooted in Hindu philosophy and cosmology, reflecting core beliefs about time, morality, and the nature of the universe. Central to these beliefs is the concept of cyclical time, where the universe undergoes endless cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction, known as the yugas. Each yuga represents a different phase in the moral and physical state of the world. The Satya Yuga, or Age of Truth, is a period of perfect virtue and harmony, followed by progressively less virtuous ages, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and finally the Kali Yuga, the age of darkness and decline. This cyclical view contrasts sharply with the linear perspective prevalent in many Western traditions, emphasizing that every end is merely a precursor to a new beginning. Karma and Dharma are fundamental concepts that underpin the myth of the Kali Yuga and Pralaya. Karma, the principle of cause and effect, dictates that every action has consequences that shape the future. In the context of the yugas, the moral decline in the Kali Yuga is seen as the cumulative result of negative karma over previous ages. Dharma, the cosmic law and order, represents the duties and moral responsibilities of individuals. The erosion of Dharma during the Kali Yuga leads to societal collapse and chaos, necessitating the cleansing destruction of Pralaya. Ancient Indian cosmology profoundly influenced the myth of the Kali Yuga and Pralaya. The Rig Veda, one of the oldest sacred texts, speaks of cosmic cycles and the rhythmic creation and destruction of the universe. The concept of pralaya, where the universe dissolves into chaos only to be reborn, reflects this ancient understanding of a dynamic and ever-renewing cosmos. The societal structure of ancient India also played a crucial role in shaping these myths. The caste system, with its emphasis on duty and social order, mirrored the broader cosmic order maintained by Dharma. As the Kali Yuga progresses and Dharma disintegrates, the breakdown of social structures and moral values in the myth parallels the fears and anxieties of a society witnessing decline and disorder. The hope for renewal through pralaya and the subsequent Satya Yuga reflects a desire for a return to a golden age of stability and righteousness. Moreover, the influence of various Hindu texts like the Mahabharata and the Puranas, which elaborate on the characteristics and events of the Yugas, further enrich the narrative of the Kali Yuga and Pralaya. These texts provided a detailed account of the signs of the Kali Yuga, such as the loss of truth, the rise of falsehood, and the eventual intervention of divine forces to restore cosmic order. The figure of Kalki, the final avatar of Vishnu, embodies the hope for divine intervention and renewal. In a society familiar with avatars like Rama and Krishna, Kalki's promised arrival during the Kali Yuga symbolizes the ultimate restoration of Dharma. This belief in divine cycles of descent and salvation reinforces the cyclical nature of time and the enduring hope for renewal. The Popol Vuh, the sacred book of the Maya, offers a vivid and intricate account of creation, destruction, and rebirth. It begins with the gods' earnest attempts to create beings who could honor them, each effort met with its own dramatic failure and subsequent cataclysm. In the primordial darkness, the gods convened to shape the world and its inhabitants. Their first creations, beings made of mud, were frail and dissolved back into the earth. The gods, undeterred, fashioned a second race from wood. These wooden beings, though durable, were devoid of souls and understanding, wandering aimlessly without purpose. In their frustration, the gods unleashed a great flood, accompanied by monstrous birds and jaguars, to cleanse the earth of these flawed creations. The gods, reflecting on their failures, sought a perfect medium and finally created humans from maize, the sacred sustenance of the Mayan people. These new beings were endowed with wisdom and the ability to honor the gods through rituals and offerings. They lived in harmony, their lives intertwined with the cycles of nature and the divine. Among these sacred tales, the Popol Vuh recounts the heroic deeds of the twins Hunahpu and Ixbalanque, whose adventures are central to Mayan mythology. The twins, brave and cunning, were summoned to the underworld, Xibalba, by its lords who sought to test and destroy them. Xibalba was a realm of darkness and deceit, filled with treacherous trials and deadly traps. Yet the twins, through their wit and courage, overcame the lords of death, restoring balance and order to the cosmos. Their victory symbolized the eternal struggle between light and darkness, life and death. The Popol Vuh also speaks of the prophecy that heralds the end of the current world cycle. This prophecy, deeply intertwined with the Mayan calendar, predicts a series of cataclysmic events that will mark the conclusion of this age and the beginning of a new one. The long count calendar, a cornerstone of Mayan chronology, marks significant epochs and transitions in cosmic time. As the end of this cycle approaches, the signs of the impending apocalypse become evident. The skies darken with ominous clouds, the earth trembles with powerful quakes, and the seas rise in furious waves. The natural balance is disrupted, leading to widespread famine and drought. Conflict and chaos spread as humanity grapples with these unprecedented challenges. The lush jungles of the Maya, once teeming with life, become battlegrounds where survival hangs in the balance. In the final throes of this cosmic upheaval, mountains crumble, stars fall from the heavens, and the very fabric of the universe begins to unravel. The gods descend once more, their presence both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Amidst the destruction, the heroic twins Hunahpu and Ixbalanque reappear, guiding humanity through the chaos with their courage and wisdom. Yet, this apocalypse is not the end. It is a necessary purification, a cosmic reset that paves the way for renewal. The destruction prepares the earth for a new creation. From the ashes and ruins, a new world begins to take shape. The gods, with their divine hands, mold the land anew, and the sun rises again over a rejuvenated earth. In this new dawn, humanity emerges, cleansed and renewed, ready to honor the gods and live in harmony with the cosmos. The cycle begins anew, reflecting the eternal belief in the resilience of life and the enduring spirit of the Maya. The Popol Vuh's narrative of apocalypse and rebirth is a testament to the Mayan understanding of the universe's cyclical nature. It embodies the profound wisdom that from the greatest destruction can come the most profound renewal, a timeless story of hope, resilience, and the enduring power of creation. The Popol Vuh's apocalyptic visions are deeply rooted in the intricate and profound understanding of the cosmos held by the Maya. At the heart of their worldview was a sophisticated knowledge of astronomy and calendar systems, which played a critical role in shaping their perception of time and existence. The Mayans were exceptional astronomers, their observations of celestial bodies meticulously recorded and interpreted. They built grand observatories, such as the one at Chichen Itza, and aligned their temples with the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. This celestial alignment was not merely for practical purposes, it was deeply symbolic, reflecting their belief in the interconnectedness of the heavens and the earth. The cosmos was a grand clock, and its cycles influenced everything from agriculture to spiritual rituals. Central to Mayan timekeeping was the long count calendar, a sophisticated system that tracked vast cycles of time. Unlike the Gregorian calendar, which operates on a linear progression, the long count was cyclical, reflecting the Mayan belief that history repeats itself in endless cycles of creation and destruction. This calendar system not only marked the passage of days and years, but also predicted significant cosmic events and transitions, such as the end of the current world cycle. The Popol Vuh's narratives of creation and apocalypse are a reflection of these cycles. Each era or world, according to Mayan belief, is created, flourishes, declines, and is ultimately destroyed, only to be recreated anew. This cyclical understanding of time imbues their apocalyptic prophecies with a sense of inevitability and renewal. The end of the world is not a final, irreversible event, but a necessary precursor to a new beginning. Rituals and sacrifices were integral to maintaining the cosmic order in Mayan society. These practices were believed to appease the gods and ensure the balance of the universe. The Maya engaged in elaborate ceremonies, often involving offerings of food, precious items, and even human sacrifices. Blood, considered a potent life force, was frequently offered to nourish the gods and sustain the cosmic cycle. These rituals were not acts of mere superstition, but were deeply embedded in their cosmology and societal structure, reflecting a profound understanding of reciprocity between the divine and the mortal realms. The Popol Vuh also highlights the importance of heroes and deities in maintaining cosmic balance. The stories of the hero twins, Hunahpu and Exbalanque, emphasize the role of divine intervention and heroism in restoring order. Their journey to the underworld and their triumph over the lords of Xibalba symbolize the eternal struggle to maintain harmony against the forces of chaos. This narrative reinforces the belief that divine beings are actively involved in the fate of the world and that their actions ensure the continuity of life. The cyclical nature of time and the emphasis on rituals and sacrifices underscore a central theme in Mayan cosmology: the pursuit of cosmic order. The universe, in their view, is a delicate balance of forces, and human actions play a crucial role in maintaining this equilibrium. The end of the world, as described in the Popol Vuh, is a dramatic reminder of the consequences of losing this balance, but also a hopeful promise of renewal and rebirth. In the rich cultural heritage of indigenous Australian mythology, the Dreamtime stands as a sacred and timeless epoch. It is the foundation of existence, a period when ancestral spirits emerged from the earth and sky to create the land, animals, and people. The Dreamtime stories are not just tales of the past. They are a living spiritual reality that continues to shape the lives and beliefs of Aboriginal peoples. The Dreamtime is a realm of profound creation, where every feature of the landscape is imbued with the spirit of the ancestors. Rivers, mountains, and animals are all manifestations of these ancestral beings, whose actions in the Dreamtime established the laws and customs that govern life. These stories, passed down through generations, connect the present to a sacred past and provide a blueprint for living in harmony with the land. One of the central narratives involves the rainbow serpent, a powerful creator spirit that carved out rivers and valleys as it moved across the land. The rainbow serpent is both a life giver and a destroyer, embodying the dual nature of creation and destruction. Its journey through the earth signifies the ongoing process of renewal and change that defines the Dreamtime. As the Dreamtime is eternal, it encompasses both the creation and the eventual transformation of the world. The prophecy of the end of the Dreamtime speaks of a time when the balance established by the ancestors will be disrupted, leading to profound changes. This prophecy foretells a series of transformative events that will reshape the world, bringing an end to the current order and heralding the emergence of a new reality. According to the prophecy, signs of the impending transformation will be seen in the natural world. Unprecedented changes in the environment, such as extreme weather events, will signal the beginning of this new era. The land, once stable and nurturing, will become a place of upheaval, reflecting the spiritual imbalance that has taken hold. The ancestral spirits, who once walked the earth, will reawaken and rise to restore balance. These spirits, often depicted as powerful and enigmatic figures, will intervene to cleanse the land and prepare it for a new cycle of creation. Their actions will bring about a series of cataclysmic events. The ground will shake, waters will rise, and fires will sweep across the land. These events, while destructive, are necessary to purify the world and remove the corruption that has accumulated over time. In the aftermath of this cleansing, a new world will emerge. The land will be rejuvenated, and the balance between humans and nature will be restored. The ancestral spirits will once again imbue the landscape with their presence, ensuring that the laws and customs of the Dreamtime are upheld. This new world will be one of harmony and respect, where the lessons of the past are remembered and honored. The Dreamtime apocalypse is not an end, but a profound transformation. It reflects the deep connection between the Aboriginal peoples and their land, emphasizing the importance of living in balance with nature and respecting the sacred laws established by the ancestors. The prophecy serves as a reminder that, even in times of great upheaval, the spirit of the Dreamtime endures, guiding the way to renewal and rebirth. The Dreamtime, or Chukurpa as it is known to many Aboriginal groups, is not merely a distant mythic era, but an enduring spiritual and cultural foundation that permeates every aspect of Aboriginal life. It is the source of laws, social structures, and the sacred bond between people and the land. The stories and teachings of the Dreamtime are woven into the identity of Aboriginal peoples, providing a moral and spiritual framework that guides their existence. The Dreamtime's significance in Aboriginal spirituality is profound. It is a sacred period when ancestral spirits, also known as Chukurpa beings, traverse the landscape, creating the features of the natural world and establishing the moral and ethical codes by which people live. These beings are not confined to the past. They continue to exist in the land, the animals, and the people. This belief in the continuous presence of the ancestral spirits underscores a profound connection to the land, where every hill, river, and tree is seen as a living embodiment of these primordial forces. In Aboriginal lore, the Dreamtime stories serve as foundational texts that define the rights and responsibilities of individuals and groups. These laws, known as lore, are passed down orally through generations, ensuring that the wisdom of the ancestors is preserved and respected. The lore encompasses a wide range of practices, including rituals, ceremonies, and social conduct, all of which are designed to maintain harmony between humans and the natural world. This intricate system of knowledge and tradition reflects a deep understanding of the environment and a commitment to sustainable living. The cyclical nature of existence is a central theme in Aboriginal cosmology. Life is seen as a series of interconnected cycles, where birth, death, and rebirth are natural processes that mirror the rhythms of the earth. The Dreamtime apocalypse, therefore, is not an end but a transformation, a necessary part of the cycle that ensures renewal and continuity. This perspective fosters a sense of resilience and adaptability, as the Aboriginal peoples understand that even in times of great change, the essence of life endures. The connection between the land and the ancestors is fundamental to Aboriginal identity. The land is not just a physical space, but a living entity that holds the memories and spirits of the ancestors. This bond is expressed through rituals, storytelling, and art, which serve to reinforce the sacred relationship between the people and their environment. For instance, rock art and ceremonial dances often depict the deeds of the ancestral beings, keeping the stories of the Dreamtime alive and vibrant. The prophecy of the end of the Dreamtime, with its themes of disruption and renewal, highlights the importance of maintaining balance and harmony. It serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of neglecting the sacred laws and the natural world. At the same time, it offers hope for a future where the ancestral spirits will restore order and bring about a new cycle of creation. In essence, the Dreamtime apocalypse is a reflection of Aboriginal spirituality's core principles: the sanctity of the land, the enduring presence of the ancestors, and the cyclical nature of life. It emphasizes the need for respect, balance, and harmony, values that are essential for the survival and flourishing of both people and the environment. This profound connection to the land and the ancestors shapes every aspect of Aboriginal culture, ensuring that the wisdom of the Dreamtime continues to guide and inspire. Throughout human history, cultures around the world have envisioned the end of the world in unique and profound ways. While each myth offers a distinct perspective, there are striking similarities and differences that reveal common human concerns and beliefs. By examining these apocalyptic visions side by side, we can uncover deeper insights into our shared humanity and the universal symbols that resonate within our collective unconscious. In Norse, Hindu, and Mayan mythology, the concept of cyclical destruction and rebirth is a central theme. Ragnarok in Norse mythology tells of a world-ending battle followed by a renewal where the earth emerges green and fertile once again. Similarly, in Hindu beliefs, the Kali Yuga ends in Pralaya, a great dissolution that precedes the creation of a new, purer world. The Mayan Popol Vuh describes successive cycles of creation and destruction, with each new world arising from the ruins of the previous one. These myths reflect a worldview where time is not linear but cyclical, emphasizing the perpetual renewal of life and the cosmos. In contrast, Christianity and indigenous Australian mythology present a more linear view of the apocalypse. The Book of Revelation depicts a definitive end to the world, culminating in the Last Judgment and the establishment of a new heaven and new earth. This linear perspective is also present in the Dreamtime stories of indigenous Australian mythology, where the prophecy of the end leads to a transformative rebirth of the world. However, the Dreamtime narrative maintains a continuous connection to the past, present, and future, emphasizing the enduring presence of ancestral spirits. Despite these differences in structure, common themes and imagery emerge across these myths, resonating deeply within our collective unconscious. Carl Jung's theory of archetypes suggests that these recurring symbols and motifs, such as cosmic battles, moral decline, and the hope for renewal, are part of a shared human psyche. The heroic struggle against overwhelming darkness, the descent into chaos, and the eventual triumph of light and order are universal narratives that speak to fundamental aspects of the human experience. Moral decline is a prevalent motif seen in the corruption and chaos of the Kali Yuga, the moral decay before Ragnarok, and the tribulations described in Revelation. These narratives reflect societal anxieties about the loss of virtue and the consequences of straying from sacred laws and ethical principles. They resonate with Jung's archetype of the shadow, representing the darker aspects of humanity that must be confronted and integrated. Cosmic battles are another shared element, symbolizing the eternal struggle between forces of good and evil. In Ragnarok, gods and giants clash in a final cataclysmic battle. Hindu mythology describes the cosmic conflicts leading up to Pralaya, while Revelation's Battle of Armageddon pits the armies of heaven against the forces of the Antichrist. The Mayan Popol Vuh and Dreamtime stories also feature confrontations between heroic figures and malevolent entities, underscoring the universal belief in a cosmic order that must be defended and restored. These battles reflect the archetype of the hero, who must face and overcome great trials to bring about transformation. At the heart of these apocalyptic myths is a profound hope for renewal. Even in the darkest times, these stories offer the promise of a new beginning. The rebirth of the world after Ragnarok, the new Satya Yuga following Pralaya, the emergence of a new era in the Mayan cycles, and the renewal of the earth in the Dreamtime prophecy all highlight the resilience of life and the enduring quest for harmony and balance. This theme of renewal echoes Jung's concept of individuation, the process of psychological integration and transformation. Shared imagery such as the fall of stars, the rising of waters, and the shaking of the earth are powerful symbols that connect these myths. They evoke a deep-seated sense of awe and fear, tapping into primal fears and the mysteries of nature. These symbols serve as a bridge between the conscious and unconscious mind, allowing individuals to process existential fears and the hope for renewal on a collective level. In essence, these apocalyptic myths from diverse cultures reflect a universal human desire to understand the end of the world and the hope for a new beginning. They address fundamental questions about morality, the nature of existence, and the ultimate fate of the universe. By exploring these narratives, we gain insight into the values, fears, and aspirations that have shaped human civilization throughout history. These myths teach us that while the end of the world may be inevitable, it is also a precursor to renewal and transformation. They remind us that even in the face of destruction, there is always the potential for rebirth, offering a timeless message of hope and resilience. The recurring themes and imagery in these stories reveal the profound connections within our collective unconscious, illustrating the shared spiritual journey of humanity. The apocalyptic myths from diverse cultures reveal how environment, societal structures, and historical contexts uniquely shape these profound narratives. By examining these stories side by side, we can uncover deeper insights into how humanity grapples with the end of the world and the hope for renewal. In Norse mythology, the harsh Scandinavian climate and warrior ethos are reflected in the tale of Ragnarok. The brutal winters and the valorization of heroism inform a worldview where the end is marked by a great final battle and a subsequent rebirth of the earth. This mirrors a society that faced harsh natural elements and valued strength and resilience. Hindu mythology's Kali Yuga and Pralaya are deeply rooted in the agricultural rhythms and philosophical concepts of karma and dharma in ancient India. The cyclical nature of time and moral consequences are central to this narrative, reflecting a society that saw itself in harmony with natural cycles and ethical living. Mayan apocalyptic myths, as detailed in the Popol Vuh, are profoundly influenced by their advanced astronomical knowledge and intricate calendar systems. Their cyclical view of time and emphasis on cosmic order are reflected in their prophecies of creation and destruction. The lush, fertile environment of the Maya and their ritualistic society underscore these narratives. Christian eschatology in the Book of Revelation is shaped by the historical context of persecution under the Roman Empire. The linear progression towards a final judgment and a new creation reflects the early Christians' hopes for divine justice and salvation amidst oppression. This perspective provided hope and purpose to a community facing existential threats. Indigenous Australian mythology's Dreamtime and its apocalyptic prophecies are deeply rooted in the spiritual connection to the land and the ancestors. The cyclical nature of existence and the importance of balance with nature are central themes. These narratives reflect a society that values sustainability and the wisdom of the ancestors. Despite cultural differences, these apocalyptic myths share a common purpose: to provide meaning and hope in the face of existential threats. They address deep-seated fears of moral decline, societal collapse, and cosmic disorder, yet they also convey the promise of renewal and justice. These myths tap into the collective unconscious, resonating with archetypal symbols of heroism, moral struggle, and transformation. The imagery of cosmic battles, moral decay, and ultimate rebirth reflect universal human concerns and aspirations. They offer frameworks for understanding the world and finding resilience in the face of adversity. By examining these myths together, we see that humanity's quest for meaning transcends cultural boundaries. These stories remind us that, despite our differences, we all seek to understand our place in the universe and find hope for a better future. They inspire and guide us, offering timeless lessons about resilience, morality, and the enduring human spirit. From the frozen wastes of Norse mythology to the cyclical destruction and rebirth in Hindu beliefs, from the apocalyptic visions of early Christians to the profound connection between land and cosmos in Aboriginal Australian stories, each myth offers a unique perspective on the end of days. Yet, they all share a common thread, a reflection of the human condition, our fears, our hopes, and our quest for meaning in the face of uncertainty. As we journey through these myths, we find not just tales of doom, but also stories of resilience, renewal, and the eternal dance between creation and destruction. The end is never truly the end, it is a new beginning.